How to start competitive programming? The simple answer is by solving problems. Solving problems is one of the most effective techniques to get better at competitive programming. But then, how do you solve problems? So, solving problem consists of three steps. First is understanding the problem. This is one of the key important aspects in competitive programming. Once you understand this question properly, then the most important factor is how do you start solving the problem, or how do you approach the problem, which method you use. And the third most thing is if you have a solution, then how do you improve on the solution. So at easy learning, we are going to show you this three steps, step by step. We will be in different problems at a time, and then we'll analyze how do you will then we'll analyze how do you approach the problem, how do you develop a solution for the problem, and then how do you improve on the solution we currently had. So our first module will be simple computing. So in simple computing, we will be getting you familiarized with the basic concepts of competitive programming, such as handling problems with multiple test cases. Then we'll be seeing how to get a precise answers, especially precision of real numbers. And then we'll see on how to improve our time complexity of the solution which we have got. Suppose we write a algorithm and we get a solution of O(n). Then we'll see methods how we can try converting it into log n. This is not an always thing, but we'll try and see how we can do this. So let us begin with our first problem. This is a sample problem just to show how our method works. So the first problem is finding the average of the 12 tests input. So as you can see here, we have our sample inputs, and this is the average of all the sample input. So basically in this problem, what we are going to do is, first we will be finding the sum of all the inputs. Suppose this is our index 0, this is our index 1, this is our index 2, and so on and so forth up to index 11. So we are going to find the sum for this index is called I. So from I 0 to 11, a of I, assuming that all of these values are stored in a list which can be represented in such a manner that A is the name of the list and I is the index which we are following, 100 and so on up to 1.75. So here 100 is at index 1, so A of 1 is nothing but 100. So this is uh, this is what the problem and the solution is. Let's go ahead and see some code for. So as you can see, the code is available. So we are going to basically use C programming for representing all of our code. So the first line here is include stdio, that is nothing but our preprocessor directly. We need to use some functions in our program to get input and output and other different things. So we use the preprocessor directive. Then int main is where our main function starts. Then we have declared some variables such as average and sum to store our average and sum, and we have initialized them to 0. Basically it's like a container. Initially the container has nothing, and then we start filling it with some things, and then we declared our list or array here, and then we have also initialized the list to 0, assuming that initially the list contains 0, and then we used our I for indexing. So then we had a for loop. Loops in C programming or any programming are in such a manner that you have the loop, it satisfies some conditions, and if that conditions are true, then this loop runs, the lines in them execute, and if this condition is false, then that loop does not execute. So here for loop has three conditions. First is our initialization. We initialize our indexing values. Second condition is the condition for which the for loop runs or not, and the last one is increment condition. So as you can this increment condition is done only after the loop is executed. So first I is initialized to 0 in our case, and then the value is checked whether I is less than 12. That is true in our case because we just initialize it to 0, and then the code runs. So you have scanf. Scanf basically takes the input for the user, and then this is the syntax for scanf, and then you take sum equals to plus or minus plus equals to a of I. So plus equals to does basically nothing, but it makes sum equals to sum plus a of I. This is how you represent sum a of I. Sum plus equals to a of I, and then we take average equals to sum by 12, because this loops keep on running, and then we'll take all the sample inputs as we have seen before. Yeah, and then once we get all our sample inputs, we sum them up and then divide them by 12, so we get the answer. So our average is nothing but sum by 12 because we are taking 12 inputs here. So that's it. We will be solving more problems in this particular manner. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you do not like the video, please be sure to hit the dislike button and mention your valuable comment so that I can improve.